Hey guys, it's Karen, my review for Miss Bala. So what Miss Bala is essentially about is we center on the character of Gloria Myers. She is this makeup artist in LA, and she goes to visit her best friend Susu in Tijuana, Mexico. And when it first starts off as just kind of a fun weekend, quickly turns lethal when this shootout ends up happening, and Gloria ends up getting kidnapped by the cartel responsible, but also her friend Susu, as she ends up getting separated from. And the rest of the film is her trying to find her way back to Susu, but also trying to survive with the cartel. And that's really all I'm going to say. So Miss Bala overall, I really did not have much interest in this film. I thought it honestly did look pretty boring. It looked very generic and by the numbers, and it just looked like something that wasn't really going to hold my interest. There definitely was talent behind it, but it just wasn't really anything I was all that looking forward to. And after seeing it, it's basically what I expected. Miss Bala is incredibly generic and by the numbers, and it really isn't anything that you really need to rush out and see. But we are going to start off with the cast, which there's not much to say. The cast honestly does leave a lot to be desired. I will say, though, the one thing this film does kind of have going for it is Gina Rodriguez. She is definitely well casted as the character of Gloria. It's one of those characters that is very one note, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But Rodriguez does a lot to elevate this character and make her a little bit more likable. She's such a great actress, and she definitely is very, she's able to add a few more layers to her in that way. And I do think she definitely did a really good job, especially scenes where she starts to realize, what she's really in and how dangerous this cartel really is. She especially shines in those scenes. But overall, this is not really a film that utilizes her all that well. I think she is a far more capable actress than this, and I really hope she starts to do more roles like Annihilation and less things like this. I know Jane the Virgin's going to be ending soon. I'm hoping that means we get more movie roles from her, because I do want to see more of her. I think she's a great actress, and I love pretty much everything I've seen her in. And again, while I do think she's good here, this is easily her weakest performance, only because there isn't really a lot for her to do here. She definitely does the best she can, but there just isn't really a lot for her to do overall. The rest of the cast is fine. I wouldn't really say anyone's necessarily terrible, but they're all just kind of fine. Ismael Cruz, Cortez, the main guy, Córdova, like the main guy here who plays Lino, he's fine. I mean, I guess he does a good job as the big, leader of this cartel, and he's very frightening and things like that, but there just isn't really a lot to him. All of the other actors in the cartel, I pretty much feel the same about. There isn't really much to them. Anthony Mackie, very talented actor, but he also is really not given a lot to do here at all. We'll get more to his character a little bit, but I thought overall he was fine for what he had, but he didn't really have a lot to do. The one that was terrible, I don't know exactly who played him, but whoever played Susu's brother was terrible. I just talked about The Kid Who Would Be King. That is a film that has really great child actors. Miss Bala, on the other hand, the child actor in that film, is awful. I really could not stand him, and I thought overall, he was just not very good here, and thankfully he's not in the movie a lot. But unfortunately, there was a point where I thought, okay, he's not going to be in it much, and he was in it a little bit more than I was expecting, so that kind of hurt the film. But overall, the acting's nothing completely terrible. There just isn't really a lot to say here. Now let's get to the directing and the writing, which, once again, there's not really a lot to say. The director here is Hardwicke, and you basically get the kind of film you're expecting from the director of Twilight. I know she's done other stuff throughout the years that I have heard is way more credible, for sure. But of what I've seen, I'm not really a fan of her, and she really does not do much to elevate the story. She tells it in a very straightforward manner, to the point where it feels like anyone could have directed this film. It really does not seem like she neither hurt nor did anything to elevate this film. She really was just kind of there. It's one of those directing where you barely feel like there is a director, because there just isn't really a lot of direction going on in this film, and I mean, I guess she did an alright job, but again, I didn't really feel her directing there. The writing is easily the biggest problem, though, with this film, because the film itself, it is so by the numbers, and it's so generic, and it thinks it's really clever. It thinks this is a film that is very well done, when in reality, we have seen this so many times before. How many films have we gotten where friend goes to visit her friend, something ends up happening, and she tries to find her throughout the rest of it, and oh, then there's this big twist. Every single twist in this film, I pretty much predicted. There wasn't a single one that even remotely shocked me. And I'm not even talking about when they happened, like way before the twist happened. I pretty much saw coming, and again, I would not be complaining if the story was even remotely interesting, but it's really not. Now, it's not like there isn't potential in the story. There are actually some things early on that actually did hint at some interesting ideas in the story. Gloria ends up getting very close with this cartel to the point where they start to possibly want to own her, and they start to use her against their will. And there's a really interesting scene where she ends up talking to this woman, and this woman talks to her about the things the cartel has done to her, and it's really sad to see, and it makes you wonder, like, okay, where's this gonna go? And I'll just say right now, it doesn't go anywhere. It really does not go anywhere at all, and to me, that was easily the most interesting thing about the movie, and the fact that they didn't really go anywhere with that really disappointed me. But my other biggest problem with the film is actually the characterization of the main mob enforcer. Again, Ismael Cruz, Córdova, he does an alright job, but the way they characterize him really did not work for me. Throughout most of the film, he's meant to be very intimidating and sort of this hulking guy. However, there were clearly points in this film where they were trying to peel back the layers of him a little bit, show that there's a good guy there somewhere. And there's one scene in particular where he takes her to visit his family, and you see this is a guy that has a very loving family, and he clearly cares about them. And again, that could actually be really good. It's a good way of getting us into this character. It's a good way of showing how human he is, and I would not have a problem with that if literally the scene before that is him sexually touching her in a non-consensual way. He's constantly, trying to get with her throughout the film. This guy is a monster, and the fact that they try to categorize him in this way, and they try to characterize him in a way that is anything but, this big sort of abhorrent figure, really rubbed me the wrong way. Thankfully, it's only one scene, but I don't know what they were thinking there. I mean, that is not at all the direction they should have gone in with this character. I think he should have been a lot more villainous, and you really don't feel his menace because of that. It's clear that they're trying to lead you to believe that this guy is not all that bad, and again, that would not be a problem if you didn't have him just like, trying to grope her and run his finger around her chest. Like, again, that doesn't really make him, it doesn't really mislead you that way. You still see him as this terrible person, and there really is no point in the film where you don't see him as such, and I didn't really like the way that was done. Like I said, the big twist in the film is really not shocking at all, and the way the film ends especially is very convenient. I really thought that the climax was pretty lame. They set up for this interesting sort of battle, and it really doesn't go anywhere interesting. The action itself is very generic, and there just isn't really a lot going on. Also, Anthony Mackie in the film, very good actor, but he is literally in only 2 scenes here. And thankfully, it's more than 1 scene, because when he popped up, I'm like, oh, that's going to be his only scene. We're not going to see him again. He does come back, thankfully, but he still has nothing to do. Like, he is completely wasted here, and they, again, similar to the director, you literally could have gotten anyone to play this role, and the only reason they got Anthony Mackie is probably because he is a named actor, and he's one of the only named actors besides Gina Rodriguez in this film, so he's there, and then he's kind of gone, and he really doesn't serve any purpose here besides that. In terms of cinematography, there just isn't really a lot to say overall. It's fine, it's well shot, I guess. There just isn't really a lot to say. The score here isn't really all that great. It's very generic and whatever. And then the editing, the film definitely does drag on a lot, especially in the second half. There definitely were a lot of points where it was dragging on for me. Ultimately, there just isn't really a lot to say here. Like, there are definitely things I could complain about, especially, like I said, the characterization of Lino being the big one. That's the one that definitely did upset me, but at the end of the day, this film just simply is not memorable enough for me to really get angry at it. I can't really say I hated this film because it's just nothing to me. I've seen this done so many times before. I've seen it done better before. And it's another one of those films that is one of those American remakes that is trying to capitalize off of the foreign film success, and it really doesn't do that at all. Miss Bala is basically just as generic as you could have expected, and there's really not much else to say about it, so I'm just going to go ahead and give Miss Bala a C minus. Just skip it. It's very generic and whatever. You're probably not going to see it anyway because you have much better things to do this Super Bowl weekend. But that's really it for my review of Miss Bala. If you have seen this movie, let me know what you guys thought of it. That's really all I really have to say. But I will see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.